we have seen that there is a zeta and omega n, these two parameters, right? So where zeta represent the, that is a damping ratio, right? So that is represent the friction present in the mechanical system, or if you talk about the electrical system, that represent the resistance, right? And omega n is the natural frequency of oscillation when damping ratio is zero, right? So at that time there is no energy loss in the system, and system will oscillate at its natural frequency, just like a resonance condition, right? And then we have seen that depending on that zeta, there are four types of systems. So when zeta is equal to zero, so those systems are called as undamped systems. Uh, in those systems, the system response, okay, so whatever the system response is, that is like oscillatory, which oscillates at frequency omega n, natural frequency. Then we have seen that there is underdamped system where zeta ratio is between 0 to 1, right? Okay. So that zeta ratio is less than the required value of zeta. And what is the required value of zeta? That is equal to 1, right? So critically damped system, zeta is equal to 1, means just like we have seen the example of any project implementation. So if there are no, what we can say, if there are less number of difficulties in this project, for example, under damped system we have seen. So those kind of scenario will be under damped system. So you will solve those difficulty and you will implement that particular project. Similarly, if zeta is greater than 1, so if there are more number of difficulties in that particular project, so you will lose the interest, right, to implement that particular project. So zeta is equal to 1 is the required value of zeta, and this is the practically we, if we see any practical system, and the zeta value is between 0 to 1 only, okay? So like that way there are undamped system, underdamped system, critically damped system, and overdamped system, okay? So when we do the analysis by considering zeta, so we have done one analysis here. So we have applied the impulse signal to our system, second order system, and then we have considered zeta is equal to 0, right? When zeta is equal to 0, we got this kind of response, oscillatory response, right? Okay. And then we have seen that when zeta is equal to 0, impulse response is like this. Just a minute. What happened? Okay, and pole at the imaginary axis, we have seen that. And you can't define this steady state error to this particular condition. Why? Because input signal is also not exist, and the other thing is that whatever the output response you are getting, right? So that is varying between the value omega n and minus omega n. At t tends to infinity, as t is equal to infinity, you can't determine the value of this particular output signal. Okay, that is between these two values, right? Okay, so you can't define the steady state error to that particular system, right? Then we have seen when you apply a step input to this particular when zeta is equal to 0 or ramp input or parabolic input, those oscillatory response will only ride on that particular input, okay, when zeta is equal to 0 for that particular condition. So like that way. Okay, so now next case we will see for impulse response when zeta is between 0 to 1, right? So what is our system? So
under
so this is our transfer function, right? Okay, we are applying the impulse response. Oh, sorry, that is a delta of t. We are applying the impulse signal. LT of that is R of S, that is equal to 1. So C of S will be omega n square S square 2 zeta omega ns plus omega n square, right? Now the zeta value is between 0 to 1, right? So let us find out the pole first, okay? Then we can solve this particular thing. So there will be two poles, right? So that will be okay. So I take this 4 omega n square outside this bracket and that will become, okay, so these two pole will be there. Now here they have given zeta values between 0 to 1. So this term will become negative, right? So this term will become negative because zeta value is between 0 to 1. So I will take a negative sign outside. So that will be like this, right? Omega n 1 minus theta square. So what is minus 1? That is a j, right? Okay. So these two pole we got. And if you draw the pole location, so that will be like this. Okay. This will be minus. And this particular thing is okay. Now you tell me what is the time constant here? Time constant of this system? What is the time constant? Hmm? 1 upon mod of real part of pole. So that will be real part of pole is this now, zeta into omega n. So this is the time constant here. Okay, and these two are frequency of oscillations. Now these two are frequency of damped oscillation. Okay. So now you got these two poles. Okay, so we'll just convert that into time domain. Okay, one pole, and this will be the second one. Okay. So here I will take that particular point. Okay, now use the partial fraction and solve this. Why partial fraction also not required, I think. Here you can directly solve using the property. Okay. So a square minus b square, right? A square minus b square here you apply, and okay. Now how you can solve this? So C of S. Now tell me, what is the inverse Laplace transform of this term? You need to do some adjustment here. So what you can adjust? Okay, anyone, now you tell me, what is the inverse Laplace transform of this? Have you understood whatever I am doing here? What is the inverse Laplace transform of this? Okay, let us consider this. What is the Laplace transform of this? Is it right? Okay, so first what I have done, I have taken LT of this, and we have multiplied this particular signal with this e raised to minus at. So when you multiply this particular signal with e raised to minus at, what will happen? There will be the frequency shifting in the S domain, frequency shifting property. Okay. So this property, if you apply here, what will be the inverse Laplace transform of this particular signal? At least one fellow should tell this. Okay. So what is the inverse Laplace transform of that thing? Here we need to adjust this, no? Are you getting whatever I am doing here? Shubham, are you getting whatever I am doing here? Explanation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what will be the ILT of this particular property use करना है ना अभी. So this property only you have to use here. Whatever the identity here, that is only you have to use here. Okay, in Laplace transform there is a property like this now.
Sir, is it sine of omega under root 1 minus that square?
Yes, and also e raised to minus e zeta omega nt term should be there because s plus zeta omega
Yes,
n is
yes.
there, na? So inverse
Yes,
Laplace
sir.
transform of this will be e raised to zeta omega nt, then sine of omega n. Okay, you can put u of t also, but that is implied only because we are only talking about the causal systems, right? Right-handed signal. So even if you don't write, no
Yes.
issue will be there. Okay. Now this is all of you got this. How we form this? Okay. Only this identity we have used here. Nothing. Then this particular thing, this particular frequency is called as a damped frequency or a damping frequency. Damped oscillation frequency also you can say omega d. Okay, so here also this is omega d. So C of t will be omega n okay, where omega d is where omega n is the natural frequency, zeta is damping ratio, and this is damped oscillation frequency. Okay, so like this you got okay the output response when zeta is between 0 to 1. So these systems are under damped system. Impulse response of under damped system. So if I draw this particular signal, Okay, tell me at t is equal to 0, what is the value here? What is the value of C of t at t is equal to 0?
It will be 0 only.
Okay, 0. Then we will start the signal from 0. Okay, so like this you get a damped oscillation. So this particular thing, okay, so this is the output response. So as t tends to infinity, output response will be 0. So one thing is that we have seen that when when zeta is equal to 0, this particular output response will oscillate at natural frequency, right? Okay, so this is a damping frequency. Frequency of this particular signal is omega d now. Omega d is greater than omega n or less than omega n. Omega d is greater than omega n or less than omega n.
Greater than omega n.
How? Zeta value is between 0 to 1, no?
Less than आएगा sir.
Sir, omega n is greater than omega d.
Less है sir omega d.
Yes. Now, if you see, when there is a no friction, there is a no resistance, system oscillate at higher frequency, right? Okay. When there are difficulties, when there are friction, when there are resistance, right? So frequency of that particular system's operation will get reduced, right? And as the system will proceed with the time, there are energy losses, right? So because of that energy losses, because of that non-zero zeta or damping or friction or resistance, at t tends to infinity, all the energy loss will be there. But if we see zeta is equal to 0, undamped system, in that particular system, just like system will oscillate at t tends to infinity, also system will oscillate like at its natural frequency, right? Okay, so one thing is that's why the system response will become slow, okay, because of this particular thing. Now, let us consider what will be the output response when we consider zeta is equal to 1, the critically damped system. So when zeta is equal to 1, just I will take a transfer function directly from this point, so no need to write again and again.
Excuse me, sir.
Huh.
Can't we discussing it for other signals?
We will discuss now. First, we will why we are discussing this. Why we are discussing this first for the impulse signal. We will discuss for unit step and other signal also. But here we need to. What is the Laplace transform of impulse response? That is a transfer function of the system, right?
Yes.
So first we are calculating the impulse responses for each particular condition. So because of that, what will happen? If you take a Laplace transform of it, you will get a transfer function. And so why we find out the transfer function? To do the analysis of our system. So for different inputs, we will be able to find what will be the output of that particular system, right? That is the thing only.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Copy paste code problem.
Just a minute. Okay, let it be. C of s upon R of s. R of s is 1 only, so no need to write it. Omega n square s square 2 zeta omega ns omega n square, right? Okay, now zeta is equal to 1. So zeta is equal to 1, so this will become omega n square s square 2 omega ns plus omega n square. Okay, so if you simplify this, what will happen? S plus, that is omega n square, right? Okay, so this is a C of s. Now zeta is equal to 1. So if I draw the pole location for this particular condition, so that will be like a repeated poles, right? And here, I don't know what the problem here is. It's not able to draw it. Okay, now I'll use this color only. Yes. So if we draw the pole for this particular system, so those pole will be repeated poles. What will be the pole location? Tell me. Minus omega n, right?
Yes.
So what is the time constant here? One upon mod of real part of
Omega
pole.
n.
That will be 1 upon omega n. And what is the frequency of oscillation? What is the frequency of oscillation here?
0.
Hello? What is the frequency of oscillation here? What is the imaginary part here? There is only real part, na? Right?
0.
So frequency of oscillation will be 0. So right? So C of S. Okay, can anyone tell me inverse Laplace transform of this particular signal? One property you need to use here. There are other methods also by taking the partial fraction and all those things. Those are time consuming, right? You can use those also. But if you use a property directly, within less time you can solve this. Okay? So tell me what is a Laplace transform of this? Use this identity here. So if I multiply the signal by t in time domain, so what I will do in S domain, I will just take a differentiation of that particular LT of that signal, right? So tell me the ILT of
Yes.
this. What is the ILT of this? Only identity. you
omega
have to use.
n cube.
How cube? Square only, na?
Yes, yes. Omega n square up into e raised to s. That is omega n t.
T into e raised to minus omega n t. Okay. ये जो आइडेंटिटी है ना यही पे यूज करने से t into e raised to minus at. This is t into. Okay. This is t.
Yes, yes, yes.
So you can solve this by using partial fraction also, no issue. But ठीक है. So let us draw this signal. So in this particular signal there are two combinations of these signals. So first signal I will draw the t. So that will be like this, and then omega n square into e raised to minus omega n t. So that will be like this. Okay, so at t is equal to 0, that will be omega n square, and these two signals multiplication. So your c of t will be okay. So this is your c of t for this thing. So here you can see here. So this is the c of t. Here also I will draw the expression. Okay. So if you see this particular system, there are no oscillation in the system, and system will just like so we would, in terms of performance parameter, we will see these systems like a time constant and all those things. But time being, you just see what is the system response, and for different value of zeta, what are the pole location, what are the frequency of oscillation, and later we will see all the time response parameters. Okay. So this is the particular response for zeta is equal to 1, impulse response for zeta is equal to 1. Now, for zeta is equal to, zeta will be greater than 1, and zeta will be greater than 1, those systems are called as an overdamped system. And this particular system is called as, when zeta is equal to 1, this is called as a critically damped system. Critically damped system. Okay. So now we will consider when zeta is greater than 1. So when zeta is greater than 1, okay, I will draw it taking the error. Okay. So in the first case, in the second case, we have finding out the roots for this particular pole of this particular system. So that will be omega n. Okay. Now here, when zeta is greater than 1, this term will be positive, right? Okay. So this pole will be zeta omega n plus minus omega n zeta square minus 1. So if I draw the pole locations, Okay, so one pole will be at like this way. One pole will be at this point, another pole will be at this point. So this will be like plus omega n zeta square minus 1, and this will be minus omega n. So real axis only, right? Real axis poles. Okay. So these are the pole locations. So now there is a concept called dominant pole. Okay, but time being, so what is mean by, you may have studied about dominant pole concept or dominant time constant of the system. Have you heard about this concept, dominant pole system or
No, sir.
dominant time constant?
No, sir.
Okay, okay. So generally what happens if you consider this system, right? Okay, so there are two poles, okay, and as we have seen, so generally system characteristics is determined by the poles only, right? And we have seen the system like there are single poles. In those single pole system, whatever the system characteristics is, like this one, for example, I'm giving you the response, or so this particular character, how the signal is decaying, right? So this particular time constant of that particular system, okay, time constant, all of you know what is that. So time constant of that particular system is depend on that pole only, single pole only. But if there are more poles like this, multiple poles in the system, so system characteristics is determined by the dominant pole of the system. So what is mean by dominant pole? The pole which is located near to origin. So this particular pole is a dominant pole, okay? So system time constant is mainly affected by this particular pole. A system characteristic is mainly affected by this particular pole, okay? So this pole is considered as a dominant pole, but there are conditions for which we consider that particular pole as a dominant pole, and we will neglect the second pole, okay? We will study that later, but timing you just see this is dominant pole. Okay, so this is the pole location of the system when zeta will be greater than 1. So if you solve this, if you find out the output response for this particular condition, so that will be like, okay, s plus zeta omega n plus omega n zeta square minus 1. So in that particular dominant pole concept, we will neglect other pole. We will see that part. Don't worry. Okay. Now use a partial fraction and solve this. So that will be like, okay. So if I take a inverse Laplace transform of this, so you know this is simple signal, that will be k1 e raised to minus zeta omega n plus omega n zeta square minus 1 into t. So u of t is implied only, but again I will write here, okay, minus, no? So minus is there. Right? Okay. So draw this and just because this also depend on the values of this K1 and K2, right? But that much is, so if I draw this, these are the approximated diagrams. So फिर वाली यही पे कर देता हूँ. Okay. So these are the approximated diagrams. So we have studied all the four conditions. So we have finded out the impulse response for all the four conditions. We can just summarize it. Have you understood? Any doubt is there? Can we proceed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we can summarize it. So just like this, if you see this. Now consider this a particular diagram. In this diagram, so when zeta is equal to 0, poles are located like this, j omega n and minus j omega n, right? When zeta is equal to 0 at the natural frequency, right? And that particular system is called as an undamped system. And for the undamped system, response is oscillatory like this, okay? When zeta is equal to 0, pole location at imaginary axis, okay? Real part is 0, right? So when zeta is greater than 0 and less than 1, you can see the pole locations start moving towards the left side of this particular S-plane, right? So you see at this point, when zeta is between whatever the pointer I am pointing in this diagram, are you able to see?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this pole location. At this pole location, so there are complex conjugate poles, all are complex conjugate, whatever I am mentioning here, this. So these are the complex conjugate poles, right? So at this location, zeta is between 0 to 1, and those systems are called as underdamped system. And you can see the response of the system here, okay, whatever we have derived. So when you increase the when zeta will become 1, at that time there are repeated poles at this particular location, and there are no imaginary terms, only real part is there, and response for that particular system is like this, okay, critically damped system when zeta is equal to 1. And when you increase the zeta greater than 1, one pole will start moving toward this direction and another pole will start moving toward that direction. Another pole I haven't mentioned, I haven't drawn here. One pole is this, minus zeta omega n plus omega n zeta square minus 1. This one, only this system we have seen. Okay. So, just a minute. that content get, what's the issue here? Okay, it's got some problem here. Oh no. Okay, we need to, next time we will make a section and then one page we will show. This is taking a lot of time. Okay, so here you can see one pole is at this location, another pole will be on at this point, means that will be on this side. Okay, so at that time system is called as overdamped system, and system response will decay like this. Okay, now if you see this left hand side, so in this left hand side you can see the impulse responses of the system for a zeta. When zeta is equal to 0, zeta will be between 0 to 1, and zeta will be 1, and zeta will be greater than 1. Okay, so here you can see all the responses except all the responses at t tends to infinity will tends to 0. Okay, so these all systems are like oscillatory integrable system, right? Okay, even if you apply any finite signal to this particular system, what we do to find out the output, we just convolve the impulse response of the system with the input, right, to get the output. So whatever the output you will get, that output will be absolutely integrable, right? At t tends to infinity, there will be some finite value. Even if that output will be bounded, we can say, right? Bounded, finite amplitude output. Okay, so when the pole location are in the left hand side of the S plane, those systems are a stable system. Okay, and if you talk about this particular, when zeta is equal to 0, poles at this imaginary axis where real part is 0, those systems are called as undamped system, and those systems are also called as a marginally stable system. Okay, not completely stable, marginally stable system. Okay, and when you make a zeta value negative, here you can see right hand side of this display. When zeta value is negative, you can see that at t tends to infinity, that response will tends to infinity, unbounded signal. Okay, unbounded response of the system. Okay, so even if you apply any finite input to this system, output will be unbounded only, output will be unstable only. Okay, so this is just like this left part is just like when zeta value is between greater than 0. Okay, when zeta value is greater than 0, whatever you are saying, there is some attenuation in the system, right? That's why response is decaying and amplitude will be finite at t tends to infinity. But if you consider the right side, zeta value is negative, right? Okay, so we can say there is some gain in the system. Okay, just like a gain, regenerative systems, right? So in that, what will happen? So output response, whatever the feedback output you are getting, that will be get added into this input. Okay, so it will become a regenerative kind of thing, and because of that, what will happen? At t tends to infinity, system will become unstable system. Okay, so this right side is that part. Uh, we can do the analysis for this thing also. Okay, if you follow the same procedure, you will get the pole location and you will find the responses like this. Similarly, at zeta is equal to -1, you will get a response like this one. Okay, like unbounded. Okay, so this is the conclusion here. or this is a summary of this particular topic.